What do you think you learned through the process as a board? Were there any kind of big aha moments or not? And what would you advice would you give other boards that are considering this?
I can't think of any aha moment that came out, but I think an advice is it has to be something that board wants to do. It, if it comes from top down or just the president wants to do it, but nobody else does, it's probably not going to work well. So I think it really needs to be more of a holistic approach to it. And I think it's also thinking through what would be the outcome of it, right? So if there are you prepared to hear negative response to how you operate and take the feedback and really work, implement changes? Because it, not be resistant to that. Oh no, we operate really well. That obviously it's always nice to be pat on the back, but really looking at those areas where it requires improvement and see what because the reason why the board checkup really works is because if it would work if you really address the issues that are being presented to you and you hear to the feedback that's being put forward. And there was one more thing that I wanted to say. And I would say give time to review the outcomes and then implement the changes being recommended, because the board checkup actually provides some recommendations of how to address some of the issues that you might see in what's being come out. We did it ourselves. We allowed board governance committee to take the lead on it and implement it. We did not hire any outside consultants to do it, but it also could be helpful. So it depends on the board, but it could be helpful to have somebody outside come in and make recommendations. But it also, as long as the board is willing to take the recommendations in, right? It's not right. Because you can always say, oh, they don't know organization, they just came in to do this. But it's really meant to kind of help kind of see through the issues and make yourself better. If the idea is to really to govern better, then I think this process works.
Let me ask Tim how you felt about being in that assessment, your own leadership. And I know, Vincent, you're going to be in there as well, because there are items about both the executive director's leadership and the board chair's leadership and their relationship as well. So how does it feel to be assessed, your own leadership to be assessed? And how did you, respond to that at first?
I have to say that for me, honestly, I welcomed it. And so there's a level of trust. I think, this organization has kind of said, we're going to operate, we're going to use the things that we are trying to sell in the community. How do you build strong people? We're gonna apply those principles in this organization. So I think I walked into it with this sense of trust that the board was looking to improve the work of the organization, and that part of their function is to help me and provide some guidance to me and say, hey, let's look at this together and how do we make this work more effectively. So I really did walk in with that sense of this can be a very good thing. One of the things that I will say, and maybe this is back to that advice, is that I was worried about the infrastructure of the board. And so I'm telling tales out of school now a little bit, but I was a little worried that what would come out of the assessment, that our board, not because they're not effective people at all, but I wasn't sure that we had the infrastructure in place to be able to really get to things. So, that's a mix of leadership, that's a mix of passion and a mix of expertise and all of those kind of things. But I think our board was able to effectively use the information they gathered to help them take the next step into building some infrastructure stuff. So.
Wonderful.
Yeah, as the board president, newly elected, I can tell you that I'm not that very experienced in this and looking to learn more. And so this assessment process, I would see as something to help me grow in the role, but also, and more importantly, to help the organization grow. So I'm not afraid as board president of going through the process. We as a board are looking to nurture our board members, as Tim suggested. We want them to be successful doing the various things that they're doing for the board and for the organization. So there's no competition here. There's no backstabbing. There's no actual, concern about a negative rating. If someone, rates the board president as having a poor relationship and being ineffective, I want to hear that, because that's not what I'm in this for.